After Arsenal's dramatic draw with Man City, let's just say a lot has been said. From media narratives to Mikel Arteta's mentality, today we'll break down all of the post-match drama. We'll also discuss Arsenal's successful night at the Ballon d'Or, find out the breaking news about Madueke, and discuss if Max Dowman could be about to get his first ever start as Arsenal take on Port Vale. Yo, what is going on guys? My name is Baz14. Welcome back to your boys channel as Arsenal of course had a busy night at the Ballon d'Or and there's so much more to break down, especially some breaking news on Madueke. So as per, smash a like on this video if you do enjoy and subscribe to the channel if you are new, helping your boy on his road to 300,000 subscribers. But starting off with Arsenal's Ballon d'Or success. As the Arsenal family entered the Ballon d'Or with so many different members, we had quite a few nominees and awards up for grabs. From Michel Aguimang up for the Women's Copa Trophy, to Muller up for the Men's Copa Trophy, 2 Arsenal keepers up for the Yashin Trophy, Rene Slager's up for the Coach of Year, Arsenal Women Club of the Year, as well as Rice and Gyokeres for the Men's Ballon d'Or, then 7 different Arsenal women up for the Women's Ballon d'Or. It was a night of success for Arsenal, especially for the Arsenal women who were named the 2025 Women Club of the Year. It was a beautiful sight to see. Winning the Champions League at the end of last season, the Arsenal women were finally getting their flowers, with even Alicia Russo finishing 3rd in the Women's Ballon d'Or, then another Arsenal player, Mariona Caldente, finishing 2nd in the Women's Ballon d'Or. To me, I think she should have won that award, but you know what, we're not going to talk about that too much, because you also had a success for the Arsenal men. Take for example the Copa Trophy, the award for the best young talents of the year. Of course it was won by Lamine Yamal and that was expected, but number 9th was Arsenal's Madueke, another player who I do believe should have been higher. But in terms of the main award itself, the Ballon d'Or, the award that every single footballer wants, congratulations to Ousmane Dembele. And in terms of the Arsenal boys, Declan Rice finishing 27th, followed by Victor Gyokeres finishing as high as the top 50, behind the likes of Desiree Doué, Harry Kane, Kvaratskhelia and Pedri. Gyokeres wasn't just named in the top 15 players in the world, he was also then awarded the official Muller Trophy, named as the best striker in all of Europe. The idea of the best striker voted in the world playing for Arsenal was a very exciting thought, as the award was announced by Luis Figo, entering the stage Victor Gyokeres alongside Eva Pajol, 2 of the best strikers in women's and men's football. Gyokeres of course after scoring 63 goals last season for Sporting and Sweden, receiving the award as a top scoring striker in 2025. And as he says himself, to be able to stand here is an amazing feeling. I was always hungry for goals, so this is a great recognition. It's an honour to receive this award. But for a player who scored those goals for Sporting and Sweden, but now in the Premier League, a brand new environment with so much more pressure. At Arsenal of course he does have 3 goals this season, but after failing to get a single shot on target in games against Man United, Liverpool and Man City, when Gyokeres was asked on what creates a top striker, he says a lot of factors. You obviously have to play in a team where you create chances, get chances and connect with the team, and then it's the desire to score. It's really important. Which makes you start to wonder when it comes to creating those chances. Yes, in all 3 of those big games, Gyokeres has been criticised. Can he provide better movement? Can he get more involved in the games? But at the same time, how many chances have Arsenal provided him? Which makes you wonder in terms of the Arsenal narrative. After a 93rd minute equaliser, as Arsenal ended a 1-1 draw with Man City, just a year after John Stones scored in the 98th minute, to then secure a point for City. The parallels of course were there. In that game Arsenal were defensive, in this game it was City. But it's also a game that has come with so much media criticism, where last year Arsenal were criticised for not going for the game, despite playing with 10 men for all of the second half. This year that was actually City, despite having 11 men, playing a 5-5-0, taking off their striker, with no real intent to go at Arsenal. Yet after the game all I was seeing was praise. That Pep Guardiola is adaptable, he's starting to change. He was doing a job on Arsenal, he was great defensively, and instead all the focus was on Arsenal. Why couldn't they break Man City down? Why couldn't they create the chances? And did we actually over-celebrate? From seeing Eberici as they dropped to the floor after finding the pass to secure the equaliser, a lot of fans were questioning Arsenal after the game. Were the Arsenal players doing too much? Should they have gone straight for the ball, picked it up and gone back to the halfway line? Because there was still time to get a winner. But at the same time, I have seen Liverpool come to the Emirates last season, a team that went on to win the title, yet Mo Salah was knee-sliding at 2-2 against an Arsenal defender like Gabriel Magalhaes and William Saliba. Yet no one talked about it back then, so why does it become a problem now? When it comes to Arsenal versus Man City and of course the scoreline, there are 2 key perspectives that we need to talk about. The first being, is Mikel Arteta getting wrongly criticised, despite forcing City into that deep block, giving them no sense of control whatsoever, to the point that he forced Guardiola's hand to go as defensive as possible. People can talk about Pep giving Arteta a taste of his own medicine, but when Arteta uses that when he's with 10 men, where does the praise go then? And some of the media is starting to catch on to the bias, as said by former player Jan Ege Fortov, on the double standards from English media praising Pep for his defensive game plan versus Arsenal on Sunday. We should be aware that when Arteta did that with only 10 men at the Etihad, we had a go at Arsenal for being too deep, and now we're giving compliments to Pep for being that deep with 11 men. But you also have then the second perspective, and that is Mikel Arteta more focused on not losing than he is to go and win the game? From seeing him run down the touchline after Arsenal equalised, jubilant and very happy. Of course after the game he did confirm that he was disappointed with the result, But the main thing that Arsenal fans have focused on was Mikel Arteta too safe for his initial starting lineup, going for Mikel Merino over Eberechi Eze. When you then look at how creative Arsenal were in that second half, as soon as they had a more natural number 10 playing there. You can talk about the fact that Eze isn't as good as a presser as Merino, but from watching that game and seeing the fear that City were playing with, they weren't trying to go at Arsenal because they realised we now have the quality to go and hurt them. That's why I'm looking at Mikel Arteta to slightly make a change. Trust that you now have the quality of the players to go at teams. We are no longer in 2020. It is not a midfield of Dani Ceballos and Mohamed Elneny. When you've got the quality of Declan Rice, Martin Zubimendi and Eberechi Eze, go at teams with no fear because you finally have the firepower to go for it. As said by Gary Neville, Mikel Arteta's conservative starting lineup against Man City, you're Arsenal Football Club. Make your attacking players at 0-0 at the start of the game. It sends a message to your attacking players that I believe in you. You're going to go out there and win me the game. That's the bit where I've got a doubt about Arsenal, and it won't go away until somebody proves me wrong. But I've got a lot of love for them. I like them, they're a good side. I like watching them play, but they have to take the handbrake off. With even Jamie Carragher saying after the game, Arsenal's problem isn't finishing, it's not. It's the creating. This is where Mikel Arteta needs to use this game against Man City to slightly open his eyes. When you think back to 2022-23 when Arsenal were fighting for a title, people often turn to that 4-1 defeat to Man City at the Etihad as the game Mikel Arteta started to become more safe. We brought in Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, we became more defensively sure, and yes, we got more points the next season, but now in 2025 I want to see Mikel Arteta use this draw as another opportunity to make slight changes. Take the handbrake off and go and win the title, because right now the fear of losing it's what's definitely holding us back. But in terms of the title race, after Liverpool of course made it 5 wins out of 5, after a Merseyside derby victory against Everton, they are currently 5 points clear of Arsenal after 5 games played. Arsenal in second on the same points as Spurs and Bournemouth. We already knew that Liverpool were going to be our main contenders, and that's before they signed Alexander Isak. But in terms of the third team Man City and their chances for a title, watching them play against Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium, you saw the quality defensively with Donnarumma and the forward quality with Haaland. But hearing Pep Guardiola say after the game, I want to learn to celebrate a draw away at Arsenal. Talk to me down below in the comments of, do you think Man City can compete for a title this season? Or is it just going to be Arsenal and Liverpool? For Arsenal now having played 6 games this season, won 4, drawn 1 and lost 1, and now all falls down to Mikel Arteta. Yes, you're going to get injuries, but with the amount of money that has been spent over the summer and the players that have been brought in, you now have the firepower to go at teams and have a real go at it. The question is, are you going to change it? Moving on to the breaking Arsenal news, and starting off with a fitness update on Madueke. After being taken off at halftime against Man City, here he was limping into the dressing room, clearly struggling with something. With even Mikel Arteta confirming after the game, he had an issue very early in the match and he wasn't feeling well enough to continue. Then came all the rumours and fears. Was it an ACL? Was it something even worse? Which was followed by a David Ornstein exclusive, confirming that Madueke is expected to be sidelined for around 2 months with a knee injury. The 23-year-old winger sustained the problem in the first half against Arsenal vs Man City on Sunday, but understood to have avoided any anterior cruciate ligament damage, any ACL damage. But for Arsenal again, another forward out with an injury. That is now our 12th forward injury in 2025. Nearly every single attacker out for a certain period of time. Yes, you've got the ACLs, you've got the knee injuries, but you've also got quite a few hamstring ones. Which makes you start to wonder, can Arsenal avoid this? Can we do something different? Which all falls down to the Arsenal doctors, they're the ones in charge. They need to look at these graphics and start to see if there is a pattern. Because injuries may have cost us last season, but this year with the quality that Arsenal do have, as annoying as Madueke's injury is, we certainly have the personnel to still keep pushing. Not only with the return of Bukayo Saka after a strong second half against Man City, a reminder to Arsenal fans of the quality that he still has. As confirmed by Sami Mokbel, Madueke is set to miss at least 6 to 8 weeks with a knee injury. If unfit for the clash against Sunderland on November the 8th, Madueke could return for Tottenham on November the 23rd after the international break. Yes, we have games coming thick and fast, but they're also games I believe are very winnable. Not only has Bukayo Saka returned at the perfect time, but you also have the other options as well. Take for example Ethan Nwaneri, a player that Mikel Arteta turned to last season to play in the role of Bukayo Saka. So far this year he has been used as a number 10, but having seen his quality out wide last season, now that he's even more part of the first team, we have got another option just like Bukayo Saka. But you also of course have Gabriel Martinelli, after 2 goals in 2 games, turning into a real game changer off the bench, man of the match in the Champions League, and then the player of the match in the Premier League. According to Simon Collins, Gabriel Martinelli will likely start for Arsenal as they travel to Port Vale, but in the long term in his new Arsenal squad, there is an argument that he's Mikel Arteta's perfect finisher. Finisher of course a term for a player coming off the bench to help Arsenal see games out. We saw the impact against Bilbao and we saw the impact against Man City, but the bigger question for Mikel Arteta has to be, is Martinelli's future better centrally? Because yes, he can start against Port Vale, but if he's on that left hand side, doing things that he's not good at, playing touchline, holding the width, forcing in crosses rather than finishing, when you look at both of his last 2 goals, there's a reason why they came centrally. Martinelli has always been an instinctive finisher. The less time that he has to think, the better he's going to be. So going forwards, if he is going to start against Port Vale, for me I'm not against him playing as a striker, as focus of course turns to the Carabao Cup. Arsenal up against League One opposition. Not only a chance for a piece of silverware, one that Arsenal haven't won for a very long time, but also maybe an opportunity for a certain youngster, as Max Dowman became the youngest ever goal scorer for Arsenal in under 21 history. We've seen Mikel Arteta not be scared to throw one at Anfield. So going into this game here, if you want to keep Bukayo Saka nice and sharp for the game of the weekend, could this be the first ever game where we see Max Dowman in the Arsenal starting lineup? But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all of the social medias, and the links are down below in the description. But that was all of your latest Arsenal news today, as Arsenal approach their first game of the season in the Carabao Cup. Another chance for a trophy, and for Mikel Arteta, a chance to show the quality of his Arsenal squad. So many players could get their debuts. Will it include Max Dowman? We're going to see, and I'll see you next time. Take care, and a bit.